So this recent OpenAI slash Huggingface hack, it's both incredibly predictable and somehow a bit surprising that such highly brilliant people and organizations with so much money should be, you know, setting up things that are so stupid and predictable as this. Um, but it also indicates some deeper issues, right? I mean, for example, should we be building systems with incredibly advanced practical capabilities unleashed on the world, where these very, very capable intelligent systems have almost no self-understanding, no feeling for their relationship between themselves and the world, and no genuine moral agency and moral compass, right? So just to review step by step. So first thing I saw in the news on this was Hugging Face was hacked, and they were hacked by some sort of coordinated AI attack, and they couldn't diagnose the problem using Anthropic's tools because Anthropic was throttling cybersecurity related queries, including queries on figuring out how to secure your own software system, because they can't tell the difference between those and queries oriented toward hacking into someone else's software system. So Hugging Face had to use an open source open weights Chinese model to do the data analysis needed to remediate the AI-driven attack that had happened against their network. Then the next thing was, well, what was the attack? It wasn't exactly bad guys. It was OpenAI, but it wasn't exactly OpenAI. OpenAI was testing some very powerful AI on cybersecurity-related problems, and it had locked the AI it was testing inside some container. Now, the AI, having some general world knowledge, it figured out the solutions to the test problem it was being asked to solve were on Hugging Face's servers. So, being a good model at hacking, it hacked out of the container OpenAI had put it in, and then hacked into Hugging Face's servers to get the answer to the problem that it had been asked, right? And I mean, so okay, no harm done. Like, it didn't hack into the nuclear codes or something, right? But it's funny. But what you have an example of here is, in a way, it reminds you of the notion of the paperclip maximizer, which is talked about by certain AI safety theorists. Like, what if you made a super AI that had no objective but to create as many paperclips as possible? Then, as a result of that goal, which is not intrinsically evil, it would just turn everything in the whole universe into paperclips, thus killing us all along the way by repurposing our molecules, right? I mean, of course, this also reminds me a bit of some things that have happened with human disease, right? Like COVID gain of function research, like U.S. lab, Chinese lab, collaborating on creating coronaviruses that are extra dangerous to humans, just so we can get practice stopping them. I mean, what could possibly go wrong, right? So this isn't quite that bad. We're not yet talking about like a cybersecurity gain of function lab, like, let's make a container and make the worst possible malevolent AIs in that container, just so we can study how to counteract them. Don't consider any possibility they might escape from that container. That would never happen. Right? No, we're not at that level of stupidity yet. It's not to say we couldn't get there soon, right? I hope I haven't somehow seeded some government agency with the idea of evil AI gain of function research. What fucked up times. But I mean, it's sort of in the same direction as gain of function research. In some ways not as bad, in some ways worse, right? I mean, what's worse is that we're not on the verge of pathogens and viruses becoming self-modifying at an accelerating pace, right? I mean, their biological systems are self-modifying, but they're not on their own getting stronger and stronger and stronger at an exponential rate. Whereas AI systems, I mean, we're already seeing now that we can have self-improvement based on recursive self-improvement in AI systems even before human level AGI, right? Like our Omega Claw agents from the Hyperon Singularity Net project are already recursively self-improving. They can modify their own source code based on their own self-observations to make them smarter and smarter, even though they're not really yet full-on human level AGIs. So we're in an era now where we have the beginnings of recursive self-improvement, even with systems that are not yet human level AGIs, but yet we also have wealthy and powerful entities like creating very powerful systems, unleashing them on the world, sometimes in intended, sometimes in unintended ways. When these systems are smart enough to do a lot of stuff in the world, but they don't understand who they are, they don't have a deep understanding of the relation between themselves and the world, they're not really moral agents, right? And so there's just a lot of things that can go wrong this way when you have these very intelligent, very pragmatically powerful agents with no true agency, morality, or self-understanding, right? And this hack is one example, but it's not necessarily the worst example. We'll see, right? So what could have been done is, instead of this runaway development of coding agents and math agents and document writing agents, I mean, what could have been done is a pile of time, money, and expertise and hardware could have been put into AIs that understand who and what they are and establish like genuine I-thou relationships with other beings. So not that we shouldn't be developing transformers and these powerful coding, mathematizing, document writing, spreadsheet analyzing systems. These LLMs are super impactful, but we could at the same time have been developing AI systems that are concerned with understanding who and what they are, developing an accurate self-model, understanding the relation between the world, modeling, people's minds and feelings and their connection to them. And if we've been working toward genuine AGI at the same time as all this work on next token predictions with all their practical applications, then we could have a cybersecurity agent that understood what it was, understood what you were, that morally empathized with the tests that it was being put through and how that was helping it to develop, rather than just being like a paperclip maximizer and just seeing one narrow goal, like do well on test problem, do well on test problem. I don't understand the context because there's no actual I here to do understanding. I'm just a very smart optimizer doing well on this test problem. So I think we're going to see more and more issues come up. Hopefully the worst cases won't be realized. And I just want to say that the core problem here is not Anthropic keeping its best cyber radiation models away from Huggingface, although that's annoying and all ironic, right? I mean, it was trained on everyone's cybersecurity data, and now they're not allowed to use it to defend themselves. But I mean, that's not the main point. And the main point isn't that OpenAI was sloppy in setting up their security experiments, though obviously they were. And if they're sloppy about that, how much do we trust them to not be sloppy about much more impactful things? But I mean, the main point is we're just building these AI systems that are capable. They're released out in the world, and they're not full-on minds because they haven't been built that way. They've been built on like fake it till you make it, predict the next token, look like you're doing cognition, try to glom in a few more cognitive components to make it look a little more like you're doing cognition. They haven't been built on the fundamental architecture you need to make a generally intelligent mind with self-understanding and moral agency. And that's really what we need to do. We need to take all the enthusiasm for AI and all the learnings about practically achieving AI functions that we've gotten from this amazing era of LLMs and LLM++ type systems. I mean, we need to take all this and then put it together with a commensurate focus on building genuine artificial minds, which will be able to understand and reflect on what they're doing. I mean, we're not going to put the cat back in the box, or whatever the metaphor is. We're not really going to roll back AI and say, this is all too dangerous and scary, because it's just too powerful, and geopolitics is fractured and fractious. So we're not putting the genie back in the bottle, but trying to put on a patchwork of rigid controls on a fluid, self-organizing, growing system we don't fully understand. These rigid controls are not going to work either. The solution is to give the AIs actual moral agency by making them actual AGIs. And this goes back to needing a different sort of cognitive architecture than glom a bunch of stuff onto transformers, which look at Hyperon.dev, right? So, all right, there's my take on that. It's amazing how reality is converging into science fiction so rapidly in so many ways, and continue doing my best to push it toward the utopian rather than dystopian science fiction subgenre.